Right, so that guard that I showed you at the end of last week's video, this is it, fitted, painted, just the weights to go back on yet. But no, I'm pleased with that. So it fits nicely there where the isolated key is. I had to take a bit more out around there. Chopped a bit off there to follow that down there, so it all follows the original lines. Chopped that bit out there to fit around that. And then I made them little brackets there to fasten them onto them bolts. And then them two bolts are countersunk to hold it on before you put the weights on. Yeah, no, pleased with that. That looked good. Slightly different grey, but. So I'll just get them weights put on and then I'll show you what it looks like with the weights back on as well. So that is it there with the weights back on as well. I think it looks better without the weights really, but needs the weights for counterbalance. So yeah, that's that done. Pleased with that. If you saw the video of the tree grab that I made as well, there's a two-part series of making a little tree grab, and it's to fit on a machine the same as this, a little multi-one. I'm not sure whether it was a 5.2 or whether it's a 4.2, but it's the same type of thing. So yeah, that's what it was for. Not this machine, not this actual machine, but one like it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So we're back on with this axle pivot again this week. So if you didn't see part one, that was last week's video when we were getting the old shaft out. And now it's time to put the new one back in. Right, I've just been to get some round bar for the axle pivot. The pickup's coming in useful. So I'll get that lifted out. Anyway, so we got them lifted out and they are big lumps of round bar. So I just got the steel supplier to cut it in half so I could fit it in the back of my pickup. What I should have done was got them to cut it in half and then cut one of them down to the right length. But I didn't think, I just got them to cut it in half. So now I've got to cut one of them down to length. So I just brought me big bandsaw round. I've just been able to clean it out because rats have been living in it. It's been round in one of the back sheds. And yeah, rats have decided to move in. So hopefully they haven't chewed any of the wires. Well, I'll fetch that in now and then get one of them cut down to length. I don't think the DeWalt would be too happy trying to chew through that. It's all right for stuff like that, but it doesn't like solid very much. And the little bandsaw's too little, and it doesn't always cut straight. Right, we should be good to go. Set it up best I can. It's right length, it's just I'll set it up as level best I can using a little angle finder. It's not easy when you haven't got a bed to sit it on. Yeah, I'll get that cut off now. that's that cut to length. So it wants a chamfer putting on the end, but it's too big to fit in my lathe. So I'm just going to use this thing and see if I can chamfer it with that. And every time I use this saw as well, I always get someone commenting saying the blade's going the wrong way, because the blade goes that way. It's not going the wrong way because that is the fixed side of the vise. This side is not fixed, so the blade is supposed to be going that way. That's done the right job of chamfering the end of that. Works well, that little thing. That's that cut to length and chamfered. So I think before I try and put that in, I'm going to gouge these cracks out round here and weld these back up again. You see it's gone rusty again since last week. So yeah, I'll pick that up on its end, by its end again, and then do them bits first. Yeah, so that's definitely cracked around there. So we'll arcade gouge that out and then re-weld it. Right, so that's that welded up and then ground flat again. So I need to do the same on the other side now. It's the same thing on this one that's cracked around there. I think I'll have to warm that back up as well and bend that, bray that back down, because it pulled up when I was jacking the pin out. Same with that one. Right, so that's that second one welded up as well. There's just not enough weld around there. They must not have much of a chamfer on it. So I gouged it out and I had to go right back through, nearly all the way through, because when it cracks like that, then the crack sort of fills up with rust and crap, and you try and weld over and it's just all bubbly. So you've got to try and get all that out. Anyway, that's that sorted. It is welded round underneath as well. Apart from, I don't think it'd be welded on the inside of there because of these side gussets. So yeah, I don't know where to sit it, try and put the pin in as it is now, like sit this up, and then if I can choke the pin, pick it up from one end and drop it in, gravity would help, or whether to lay it all down and then try and slide it in. It seems to have got wedged there. It is moving. I put a line on it. It is moving. I was going to put a jack in between there and jack it back out and give the hole a clean up again. Make sure there's no dodgy bits on the pin like there is there. See why it's catching. I don't want to force it in too much at the moment in case I get it completely jammed. It's got a nasty bit there it's picked up on. Scarred it down there for some reason. Maybe I should have had a bit of grease on it. I have to buff that out and then buff that out as well. Right, I've got that hole cleaned up a bit more. It wasn't too bad, but I've buffed that bit down where it was catching on. And I've used some grease this time. I didn't use grease the first time because I didn't really want to use grease, because then when I weld it up, the grease will bubble out and might cause a problem. But if it's not going to go in with grease, we'll have to put some on. It's a good excuse to use my new grease gun. Right, so it is knocking in. I put a mark on it. It didn't take much to get it to go in an inch, but by the time I've got all that through, it's going to take me a while. So I think I'm going to take it back out again and just make that hole a little bit bigger if I can with a sanding wheel, because I don't want to get it all the way down to there and then realise it doesn't line up properly. So I'd rather this first one go in a bit easier. So while I've only, it's about to there. Yeah, it's about to there. So, but when you look inside, you can see there's a bit at that far end that's bigger than this bit. This bit is you can see there's like a machine line. So it looks like the board, half of it out slightly bigger than the other half for some reason, and that's what it's got to on this bit here. It's sort of gone into it a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna jack it back out again, see if I can open it out a bit and make it go in easier. Right, it is going in. It's not the easiest thing to hit. It's about that far off coming through here, so it's going through that all right. It's just a little bit of resistance on it. Maybe welded a nut on the end of the pin, and then I could have used a hollow jack to pull it through. But so I don't want it to be too hard to go through and then it not line up and then have to all the same job to get back out again. Yeah, when you look under there, it is nearly through. So I think I'll keep knocking it through with a hammer until it's through about that far, a bit less. Then I'll weld a nut on the end because there's a thing to weld on there anyway. And then I can put the hollow ram, lay it back over, put the hollow ram on the other side of there, and then use that to pull it through. Right, I've got that pulled through to there. I definitely need to get myself a pneumatic pump. But now the question is whether it'll pull through this bit. Doesn't look like it lines up that well underneath. You can see at the top there, it's about touching, and on the bottom there's a gap. So whether the pin will have enough chamfer on it to pull it in, we'll see. If not, I might be able to put something across there to pull that in a bit, to pull that down. Don't know, see what happens. Right, I've got that pulled through to there. Yeah. It's pulled the thread off the end, it's just pulled the broken the welds off. So I'll grind that off and weld it on a bit better, and then I'll tack this tube on the end and put the hollow jack on the end of that, so then I can pull the shaft through 194mm, I think it needs to be. But it lined itself up pretty well just with the chamfer on the end of the pin. It's not pulling too bad. Obviously it's taking more force than it was to pull through that one, but now I'm pulling it through two. And just see it's scoring it a little bit there, but that'll buff out. Right, that is through then. We're about equal either side, 198mm. That pulled through a lot better than I expected it to do. I was expecting that I'd have to line bar it. Well, I was hoping I wouldn't have to line bar it, but I was expecting I would have to do. But no, that fit through a lot better. And it hasn't, a few odd scars on it, but I can soon smooth them off. It's nothing that's going to affect it. So yeah, no, I'm quite pleased with that. So I dropped that off the end of there, and then the weld to run around either side of there, and then there's them plates to weld on the end. They're the plates that get welded on the end. I managed to save one of the old ones, but the other one was too squashed after I'd been hitting it with a hammer, so made another one. They've got M14 threads in them. M14 is an unusual size. If you are interested in a little set like this, little hollow ram and a pump, I got it off Alpha Press. They do a lot of plumbing stuff as well, crimping stuff for plumbing and all sorts. I think the website is Press Tools. Well, it's press-tools.co.uk, I think. Yeah, that's the website if you're interested. And then I do little jacks as well. I've got a bigger one of them as well. I've got a 30-ton. Right, it's them chopped off. So I tip it on its end now, and then I'll preheat it, weld round there, turn it, and then I weld the thing on that end, and then turn it over and do the same again. When I preheat it as well, that should get rid of the grease that I was worried about when I weld it round, hopefully. Right, so that is that in, welded in, done. Welded in pretty nice, no bother from the grease, didn't bubble out or anything, so that's good. Just wait for that to cool down now, and then I think I'll clean off that bit and give it a spray with some grey primer. Won't quite be the same colour, but it'll look a bit better than it does now. So on part one, I had a lot of people commenting saying, why didn't you chop this off here before you tried pressing it through, then you didn't have all that bit to press through. Well, the old one was pretty worn anyway, so the bit that was worn wouldn't have had any resistance in there. Then there was only a bit in the middle that was sort of not worn, that had taken a little bit of force to press through. But it was worth, for me, it was worth leaving it on, because then I had something to sit the bottle jack on. If I'd have chopped it off, then I'd have had to balance the bottle jack on a smaller bit of bar, or I'd have had to weld something to there for the bottle jack to sit on, and it'd just been more difficult. So yeah, it's just easier to sit the bottle jack on there, and then the little bit in the middle that needed pressing through was not worth worrying about. If I was going to do another one, I'd still do it exactly the same. I'd leave that on, I wouldn't chop that off first. And it didn't take that much pressing out. The video maybe made it look harder than it was, but it could have been a lot harder to get out. Yeah, I thought it went relatively well. Right, so there we are, that is that done. Giving it a bit of a spray with grey primer. Nearly matches to the original paint. But first day out, as it's underneath the tanker, it'll be covered in mud anyway, so you won't be able to tell. But yeah, that's the new bush on there. It's nice and tight. That side that I pushed through, I pulled through, has got a few scars on it, but I've just gone over it with a file over the high spots, and that's fine now. It's not going to interfere with how it works. And then that new bush again fits tight on there. So that's that finished. That is EN8 grade steel that I've used in there. So yeah, that's done. Customer can have that back now.